All right, so we're all excited because we're getting a bar-shaped dollhouse in about a year and a half to finally have a place to put all of these Cantina figures that we've been collecting over the years. Honestly, when you reward long-term collectors, long-time collectors, I think that's great. And collecting Cantina aliens has been a big part of the Star Wars hobby, well, since the 80s. And we're getting a bunch of figures with the with our dollhouse, but our bar-shaped dollhouse. It doesn't complete the scene, though. There are 86 characters in the Cantina, and there's a mix of demand from fans. A lot of fans want reissues of the figures that have been put out over the last 30 years because for those who haven't been collecting every single 3 3/4 classic trilogy figure like myself, well, we're basically looking at only characters that are in the pipeline or up for re-release. And the pipeline is going to focus on some Cantina characters. I mean, we're going to get the humans, we're going to get Chewbacca, we're even getting Moma Nadone, although he's going to be, well, I guess he is a larger character because he'll be released as a deluxe figure, kind of like Cobb Vance and some others. It will be on a card, and it will be part of the vintage series, but it won't be a basic card because he's, a big guy. And to complement that, he'll come with his, big guy gun as a homage to the Power of the Force 2 figure. So we can look forward to a new Moma Nadon Hammerhead in the next year or so, albeit a deluxe figure version of him. But what about all the rest? What about all of those Cantina figures that have been released over the last 30 or 40 years that, if you haven't been collecting, their prices on eBay are kind of skyrocketing? Well, as a toy designer and a toy marketer myself, and a diehard Star Wars collector, which is what kind of makes me a little different than most other toy makers since I actually collect the product, well, how can this be done? Can we get reissues? I mean, reissues happen all the time, right? I mean, how many times has Hasbro kind of re-released the Stormtrooper? Well, that's because it's a new tool. I don't know if they have all of the tools, but if they do have the tools for these older figures, the reissue issue is that whole MOQ. You have to produce to the minimum order quantity, which means you're overlapping with those who already have it, so there's that demand problem. All right, so with that problem and the problem of whether or not they even have the tools, which they might not, but let's pretend they do. If the tools do exist, if they haven't thrown them out because they're expensive to store, how do we get reissues? Well, I have a clever solution. That's why I make these videos. I like doing clever things. Toy companies love repainting tools because once you've paid for the tool, that's the 100,000 capital investment. If you can repaint that figure as another character or another version of that character, hey, great, you don't have to pay for the tooling again. You get double use. So let's see how we could do this with the Cantina. Let's start with a Jawa, right? Member Jawas? Everybody members Jawas. They're, Utini. I think that means stop according to the Decipher cards. This was my favorite Jawa. I love this one. This was Bob the Jawa. He comes with me on all my trips. I have pictures of him in front of monuments around the world. Plus, he came with a Gonk droid. But there's been a lot of Jawas. You should have no problem having Jawas to fill your Cantina, right? There's plenty of them in the Cantina. You can see them based on their glowing eyes. They're kind of all over the place. There's even 2 coming in while Han is going out. It's a 2-for-1 special. But what about these 3 drunk Jawas or siesta Jawas that are in front of the Cantina? We are getting the front of the Cantina, which honestly is one of the things I'm most excited about. It's going to pair very well with the upcoming Streets of Mos Eisley mini set that'll click in with it. Maybe they'll come out with the floating little flying saucer thing too. Now, all right, enough of that. Going back to the Jawas, most Jawas we know have kind of standard hands, right? And they're usually colored black on action figures, whether it's a vintage or a Black Series figure. The thing is, the Jawas in front of the Cantina have very different hands. They have these long, hairy hands. Okay, it's a little hard to see in this blurry picture, but yeah, their hands, you can see, they're much longer and they're much hairier. So let's get hairy arm Jawas. How about Greedo? All right, this is an interesting one. Greedo is probably the quintessential Cantina alien, and we're getting one with the Cantina, right? With his orange jacket molded on, because that's what makes Greedo Greedo, the fact that he's got an orange jacket, right? Now, a lot of people assume this is Greedo, the guy who turns around at the beginning. In fact, StarWars.com even uses this image as Greedo's image in their Star Wars databank. But yeah, guess what? This is not Greedo. There are multiple Rhodians in the Cantina. You know how we can tell this is not Greedo? Well, look what he's wearing. He's wearing the standard Rhodian green jumpsuit, but he's not wearing the vest. See? You can see as he turns around and he finishes that head look, you can see from his back, he's not Greedo. Here's a better shot of him talking to Jenny, Han's ex-girlfriend, or cut girlfriend from the scene. You can see a Rhodian not wearing an orange jacket, or a yeah, not jacket, vest. Vest. It's a vest. All of the Rodian masks were reused in the Docking Bay 94 scene, and you can see all three Rodians, two with vests, two without, two with holsters, one without. So you can kind of create these other Rodians. I mean, obviously, you can't do, reshoot reshoot Greedo, can't speak today, with his high heels, but you can take a previous Greedo, especially this original trilogy collection saga version, which has both a removable vest, because it's made of soft goods, and a removable holster to make the other Rodians that are wandering around in Docking Bay 94, Mos Eisley, and especially in the Cantina. And yes, that original image of Greedo, not Greedo. It's this guy. He probably has a name, I'm sure. But yeah, so take that, StarWars.com. Now, in relation to Greedo, you also have the other characters that were created actually on the set in England, as opposed to the reshoots in America that were done after the fact. One of these characters, Mosep Bainid, is probably one of the only tools that might exist, because this was released within the last 10 years. Now, you can see both of these characters in this shot, one there in the very background, one in the very front, along with two R2-D2s, which that's a whole YouTube video for another time. Now, this alien was used as Jabba the Hutt in the Marvel comic, but he is in the Cantina. Both of them. Both of these walrusy guys. So one of them there is with the pink alien chick, and the other one's with Snaggletooth there, right when Han is leaving. You can see him in the bottom right. So yeah, even though this looks like a Mos Eisley character, he is in the Cantina as well. Another one of those is Weoslea, the guy who sold or bought Luke's speeder bike for 2,000 credits. So this was actually a character that George Lucas created, and specifically to be the one who attacked Luke in the bar. That was changed to Ponda Baba. And, of course, the mask makers made this character. George described him as just kind of a blobby alien with lots of eyes. And they decided instead of having him take the Ponda Baba role, he was going to be the land speeder salesman. But, much like the other Mos Eisley aliens, this character, who, while a lot of people thought was a Jedi because he was released during the kind of Attack of the Clones phase, and kind of looks like one, nope, he's back there, see? And there's that that Rodian without a vest again. He's on to the left. So, yeah, you got Jawas, you got Rodians with no vest, and you got Weoslea there in the back. All right, the next category, I've covered this in the past when I've talked about lighting becoming toy deco, whether it's animation effects, or in the case of things like Han's jacket, how something shows up on screen. I was a film major in college, slightly aware of how this works, never made a movie using, film stock, but I know lighting can affect how things show. I learned this firsthand when I was the marketing manager at Mattel working on the Superman and Zod figures from Superman 2. We created Zod in his film-accurate black and red outfit. And this got a lot of fans very angry. Like, whoa, why did you give him red on his outfit? That's not what General Zod looks like. Because in the film, the red reflected as dark gray or dark black, maybe even blue, depending on, your vocabulary. But if you actually look at the costume, which is what we did, Warner Brothers was nice enough to let us look at it in order to model it for the toy, it's red. The stripes are red, the boots are red, it's definitely red. So we went with the actual costume look, letting fans adjust the lighting in their display. But of course, because fans have 30, 40 years of watching the movie and assuming that the stripes and the boots are black, like when they cosplay as these characters, well, that created a bit of a juxtaposition between reality, how the camera views something, and the toy. Well, the same thing has happened with quite a few Cantina aliens, that the lighting in the Cantina, the poor lighting, which, dive bars should have poor lighting, well, it's reflected in figures, and it's created figures that aren't exactly accurate to the costumes. Mayo is a great example. So, hope maybe this tool exists. It's been quite a few years. He's the one sitting on the left there at the table with Mufak and Dajit's Purr. So, a great figure. I mean, for a Cantina background figure, yeah, he's got glass, he's got his gun, he's articulated, legs, so he actually sentient, there's no bar stools. But looking at his outfit, yeah, the lighting does make it look kind of gray, but it's red. His jacket is red, not green, if you look at it from a behind-the-scenes photo. So the same thing happened with Lax Sivrak, who was released in Power of the Force 2. Back then, we were just really excited to get a new Cantina alien. This was early in Power of the Force 2, and it was, you know, exciting that we were even getting this. Who knew that we were going to get toys for 30 years? So, while a very cool figure, also not accurate to what he looks like in the film. And yes, I know he was erased in the special edition. So while the lighting does make it look like his outfit is yellow or possibly orange, which is what the action figure had, in reality, if you look at it under the correct lighting, it's red. So kind of like Mayo, he does not wear green or yellow. He clearly has on a red outfit. You can see that here and in this behind-the-scenes shot with Labria. It's interesting that the bust that did NECA do this, or Gentle Giant probably. This is probably a Gentle Giant bust. Someone will correct me in the comments. But yeah, the bust is correct. It has the red shirt on, or tunic, as opposed to orange. All right, Katid Katak, another, did I pronounce that right? I don't even know. It's the giant praying mantis character that was played by Jack Purvis. He was the same one who played the Chief Jawa and Tebow and the head Ugnut. He's been in every Star Wars movie. All right, so thanks to Bantha Skull for this great comparison shot of both releases of Katik Keed Kak. Did I get that right? He's not brown. They keep releasing him in brown. They've released him in brown twice. He is green, just like a normal, traditional Earth praying mantis, I guess, if you will. Obviously, it's a little hard to see because he's way back there in the shadows at the very back of the bar in front of the wall. But yeah, if you look at behind-the-scenes footage or even the Decipher card, yeah, he is absolutely green. He's definitely not black in real life. So, cool re-release. All right, another one who's sitting at this table, actually we got two more sitting at this table to talk about. Dejas Purr, the one on the far right. This is a character that my buddies and I called Star Trek Guy because he looked like a Star Trek alien. We didn't even know who he was when this figure came out. I had to go back. I'm like, oh, whoa, he is in the Cantina. Now, he's great, comes with dual pistols with blast effects, but he's in the wrong outfit. Once again, the shadows have kind of thrown things off. He should have white or tan sleeves, not black sleeves with tan stripes on it. So it should, or he should look more like this. This is a custom figure. So again, if they have the tool for this, it could easily be repainted correctly. All right, getting towards the end of our roadmap here, we have the Croc aliens. So there's two of these guys. And when this figure was released, it got a lot of pushback from fans because of two things. One, the eyes were not solid black, and the feet did not have boots. They gave him kind of, alien feet. Now, this was the same mask that would be used for Bosk later on in Empire, and the mask would again be reused in the sail barge for both Bosk and another Croc alien. And no matter where he appears, he's got very black eyes. It's not supposed to be the same Trandoshan species as even though they share the mask. So fans really wanted this exact version, not one that was created by Hasbro to have funky feet and different eyes. This is what we want. So again, if they have the figure, a quick kick bash, some pop off them, some swaps of parts, perhaps they can make both rocks. All right, let's wrap this up with the Cantina band. Now, we've been through this a lot. There's 7 members. We know there's 7 members. They're all pictured right here. You can see them numbered. Now, a lot of sets have had 5. Some have had 6. The only one that's at 7 is the Has Pulse exclusive, but it wasn't the right 7. They included a character in this set that's not in the band. It's this dude, and he's not even dressed the same. Some people say he's their manager. Some say he's just another Biff. Obviously, you reused the mask, but as well as the additional long tube instruments you see there that haven't been released. They gave us 2 clue horns in that 7-pack. It should be 7 unique instruments. And yeah, he could easily be repainted from the existing Cantina band members. So he's got a more green outfit on. He's not a member of the band. He's sitting there right between Dejas Purr and Muftak and across from Maya. So hey, a whole table that almost gets redone. All right, what do you guys think? As long as this tooling exists, I think these are some pretty clever ways of getting Cantina aliens out for a second time. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you been collecting Cantina aliens for 30 years? Are you excited for the Cantina? Let me know. Thanks for watching, thanks for sharing, and I'll see you in the next video.